Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another All-Star Fandom show. I just want to say before we get started, I appreciate each and every one of you that come here on Tuesday and on Wednesday and support us here at All-Star Fandom Show. And as you know, I'm your host, Doc, and Dion will be back soon. But you know I'm not by myself. Y'all already know who I got down here with me. And I'm gonna bring it right on up. Hey Jen. Hey
Hi.
Jen.
What's up?
How you doing?
uh I'm still processing, but overall I am well.
Yeah. Y'all should know me by now. I don't have no long intro.
Nope.
I ain't trying to look prolong nothing. We gonna get right into this. This is Daredevil Born Again, episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
It got a little intense. And if you have not seen it, I suggest you go and watch it. If you like good
Hold
storytelling,
a
you like good
little.
writing, and you like action, and you like drama, you like suspense, this has it all. The writing is awesome. And with all of that being said, Jen, I need to know your initial reaction at the conclusion of episode 7 tonight.
My initial reaction, I literally went, whew. when the credits cut, I was like, okay, I need to get
Oh,
up and walk around for
man,
a moment. Oh, wait, I have to go on the show.
man, you and me both. You and me both. We had the
I let
same
out this
reaction.
long sigh of
Oh,
dag frick mother
I
hot.
was like, that was a lot. It was a lot to take in.
And you know what?
Oh man.
When they did the intro, I felt so dumb that they dropped the pin of revealing who Muse was in a previous
Uh-huh.
episode. It's like I missed that was
Yep.
it literally in my face, and I did
Yep.
not put two and two together.
I and that's what I'm saying. Like I figured it out.
Yeah, you did mention
Um,
that. You
and
did.
I was like, oh man, because I was like, because here's the thing: in the comic book, the Muse is way stronger than this character that was the Muse on here. Like
Yeah.
he has abilities. He's actually like supernatural. You know what I'm saying? Other
Yeah.
than being a really great artist and a sicko, a freaking psychopath, he has abilities. And for Matt to really whoop up on him as easily as he was doing, I was rather surprised they let it play out like that. You know?
I mean, I don't I with what we saw last week and how I believe they're setting up for young Avengers, um, I'm not sure why this decision was made because this is making me think that maybe we're not going to get a new Daredevil after this. I don't want to say
Hmm.
that too soon because I feel like if they wanted to prolong the the Daredevil Muse feud, that is a
Mhm.
really strong avenue to go down. Because to your point in the comic books, Muse is a lot stronger, and Daredevil has a hard time finding him, figuring him out,
Mhm.
and that is the polar opposite in this show.
So for the people that are just tuning in, and for you all that are here now, hey Turtle, how are you? Thank you for joining us. You know we appreciate you each and every time you come in here. Um, we're talking about Daredevil episode 7 of Born Again. But let's start at the beginning. So this show opens up, and the first thing we see, um, let's see. So we see. So we'll go from
We're
where
we're in the
we'll
mayor's
no
office.
no. I don't even want to start there. I want to start from where we are. I want to start from where his wife is meeting with Luca. That's where I
Ooh.
want to start. So it wasn't the first thing. I apologize. Was not the first thing, but this is the scene where I want to start
Yeah.
where Victoria is meeting with Luca. And
Mhm.
as you all recall that I said on the last episode, Fisk said to his wife, "Don't ever make me feel like I can't trust you." So I want to start right there, and we'll go back to the beginning and talk about
Yeah.
Dare and how he feels about Daredevil showing up for that young lady, which makes me nervous for that young lady. But let's discuss this right now. Victoria
Mhm.
talked to Luca in an alley,
Yep.
and some words were exchanged, and he was like, "So, are you giving me permission, or let me know what you're trying to do?"
Or are you helping me?
Basically, what
Or do
he
you
was
want my help?
is, "Are you giving me permission to take out Kingpin, or are you going to help me take out Kingpin?" Basically, is what he was asking. So when that happened, what were you thinking? Did you see that coming?
I personally did not. Um, just because of what we've seen in previous episodes and what they were doing with, trying to find mutual ground. They're going in therapy. Of course, they're not being forthcoming completely because of the world that they both live in un, uh, underground, if you will. So
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure what they were doing with their relationship and how it was going to turn. But seeing it, I also wasn't surprised because of the information that we know between the two of them with what we've seen so far. So I wasn't shocked at all. It was just of depending what she chose, it's like how dirty does she want to get her hands in
Mm-hmm.
this? Because one of the things we keep saying is that Kingpin is ahead of the game. Like how he knows so many things already. And you can tell he's putting together that Daredevil and Heather are like this.
And here's another thing, and which is why we'll go back to what his speech in the mayor's office about how he got busted. That's why he is so infuriated with the Daredevil, because he
Mhm.
is probably the only person that
Yep.
has beat him in this whole chess game that they've been playing in Hell's Kitchen or in New York, period. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, the fact that we opened the show with the wife basically rebuilding the business, basically taking it over and making it more lucrative and thriving than Kingpin. I mean, Luca was like, listen, we did so much better and made more
Mm-hmm.
when you were leading the helm. I mean, like, and he's like, well, what's his deal? Why is he the mayor? And I actually had a moment with that conversation where I thought, maybe she is on Kingpin's side and she was playing Luca and this was a setup to have him killed for a moment. I wondered if she did that. But then you make a good point that he did tell her to not do anything, to not trust her. So I'm wondering, one, it's either that because we did have that kind of precursor set up in that earlier episode in the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
season. But then I'm like, well, let's flip the switch a little bit or look at the other side of the coin. What if she did this to set up Luca to have him killed off because of what he tried to pull, which also shows loyalty to Kingpin. So if she does really try to take him out later, she did something to prove her loyalty and he won't really suspect her to a certain
Well,
point.
I was thinking that second part, what you just said, about what if Victoria set Luca up to go down there, just to see if he would try to kill Kingpin, knowing that Kingpin would kill him. Or because I didn't clearly see that text message that she was sending. I don't know who that number was. It could have been to Kingpin that he was text. I mean that she was text. But then again, that wouldn't make sense. But I'm just like, you would hope for her sake that message was for Kingpin. Like he's at 32nd and whatever. But
Well, well, remember, both King and Vanessa talked about it in one of the previous episodes
yep,
last
they
week. They
did.
they had a conversation about it, which is why I'm like, did they set him up?
And then another thing with Luca and Victoria is
Yes.
it seemed like they had something going on. And I know I'm not the only one that felt that.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And then, and I'll bet you in Luca's mind, before a bullet went through it, he was like, once I pull this off, I'm gonna hook up with Vanessa.
He probably did think he was going to hook up with Vanessa.
Hmm. But he ain't hooking up with now, but them ghosts. Anyway,
He
moving right along.
ain't hooking up with nobody but a
Moving right along.
oh my golly.
So Kingpin, if you've seen this, the first scene was Kingpin is in the office talking to Butch. Is that his name?
Um,
Buck. I'm sorry, Buck,
Buck.
and the little intern. I guess he's not an intern. His other
I'm
crony
calling him
or
Mini Me
whatever.
at this point because of a certain scene that we haven't gotten to yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
mini.
So
He's a mini me.
yeah. So this dude, because you know what, that makes sense. But we'll talk about it because I'm gonna say he is kind of obsessed with Kingpin. But we'll talk about it here.
Mm-hmm.
So Kingpin, he's in there and he's listening. The guys are breaking it down to him. What happened? How the muse was caught, and everything that happened, and what young Ayala said in her witness statement, which is the Daredevil saved me. So the Kingpin, his whole attitude changes now. So he went from being a calmer person to when the mention of Daredevil, you can see that
He
little tick
didn't twitch.
again.
This was the first time he didn't twitch.
But you can feel it. You can
Yeah.
feel it when they mention his name.
Yeah,
So
because like for him, it's a trigger.
mhm,
But Buck made a good point to him, going, "Well, sir, maybe it's a good idea for the good of the people
to
to
let.
let him handle Muse.
Mhm.
Let him do the dirty work."
But in Kingpin's mind, that would undermine him because, like he said, and I quote him, I am good for this city, or I am supposed to be doing good for this city. I
Mhm.
promise the people I would, stop crime. So how would that look to let the vigilante, who we already know that the mayor is against all the vigilantes, right? How would
Yes,
that
he is.
look to let him go and take care of the muse?
But here's the thing though. He could do that because then look what he did on the media. He did a media show. He said it was the
Yeah,
task force that did it.
yeah.
So because like he's basically contradicting himself, basically shooting himself in his own foot because he's like, I promised the people I was going to take care of vigilantes and rid of crime. I'm like, and you're committing crime at night? Yeah, okay, figure that one out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
please. But like, it's I can see him allowing that to happen for a little while, but then taking all of the credit.
Really?
Because I could, because he doesn't have to get his hands dirty per se. So, like, if they were trying to connect things to Kingpin, like he was doing crimes in the city connected with the vigilantes, he has no involvement in it.
Well, but still, that would make him look bad because it seems to me on the outside looking in that you just letting the vigilante run loose in the streets, and you
True,
claim to put a stop to this because you claim they're all criminals,
but
which
that's it.
which is
People don't.
funny and
That's if
ironic.
the people don't find out though. If he
Yeah.
keeps doing the media spread the way he does, that news will have to get out. Which would mean, if we can segue to the conversation with this mini me and that MBB,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about it because Jen really wants to get this off her chest. What is his name? BB?
No,
What
that's
is
the
his name?
reporter. I'm calling the reporter BB. I'm gonna call
Oh,
this.
not I'm the guy.
I'm calling him Mini Me. I keep
You used to
forgetting
call
his
him
name.
Mini-Me? Okay.
I don't think anyone
So
says his name.
hold on.
Does anyone say his name?
um
She said his name. I didn't even catch it.
No, I didn't even. Yeah, because she mentioned it when she walked in the office. She said his name.
I didn't
Um,
even catch
and
it.
I didn't catch it
I'm
either.
so sorry.
Because I was when I saw him sitting in the chair, I was like, he finna try to be some big. He finna try to be on some big boss. You know what?
To your point that you made a moment ago, he's very obsessed with King.
Man,
It's like he's a super fan. So it's like, okay, how psychotic are you? I mean, not to be so disrespectful and rude, but it's very interesting that he is so obsessed with Kingpin, and now he's basically pulling a King with talking to BB about,
right,
you better spin this report like this, or your life is going to get really good,
right.
or it's going to really suck. It's like, excuse me?
And he feel like he can talk to her like that. He feel like he got some type of juice to even say that to her.
Well, yeah,
Because you
because
see the way she laughed it off. She was like, "Man, you was high and drunk, and you ain't, I can feel like I can get out any information out of you at that point,
yeah, and you know what? She's not wrong. She could have.
So
She
I mean,
absolutely
you
could have.
basically what she's saying, you got to be careful in these streets. If these are the streets you're trying to roll in,
Can we
Mr.
give?
Politic,
I'm sorry. Can we give Turtle some credit? His character name is Daniel Blake. Thank
thank
you,
you,
Turtle.
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 Thank you, Turtle,
Thank
because
you,
it was driving me
Daniel
crazy.
Blake.
Because
I'm writing
I
this
just,
down,
like you said, I wasn't even giving him a name. I called him Minion 1 and Minion 2, his
I'm
right
calling him,
hand and his left hand.
and I'm calling him Mini Me.
Yeah.
Daniel Blake, aka Mini Me.
But he wants to be all big and bad now when, and it's funny to me, like I said, a couple of episodes back, where he kind of pledged his undying fealty to Kingpin.
And I was like,
Remember? Yeah, and it felt weird, didn't it?
It was very weird. So
Yeah.
his obsession to me is subtle, but it's there.
Mm, mm, mm. And then on top of that, so let's rewind it a bit because we're jumping around, and that's fine because I like jumping around. I don't mind.
Popcorn style.
Let's go back for a minute when the detective, the Asian lady, is talking to Kingpin about
Yes,
the
that
crime scene.
scene.
About the crime scene, and well, not the crime scene, well, basically about the whole
The
case,
lair.
the whole case.
Yeah.
So she's talking to him about this whole case, and she's breaking it down to him like who I think it is.
Yes.
We've talked to 11 of the artists from that we know that purchases highly expensive canvas, and we've narrowed it down to this one person. This is who it is, right? And then they keep going back and forth to the doctor's office with Bastion, right?
Yeah.
So I figured it out. It was Bastion, right, as the muse. But I'm gonna spin this in a minute, okay? So they go, and I love the whole back and forth. Go to Kingpin and the detective, and they're discussing who it could be, and it's actually Bastion in there with the doctor by herself. Nobody to protect her, but her wit, right?
But her wit.
But her wit.
I figured it was Muse the moment the opening of the episode was the way he looked at her. I was like, he has crazy eyes.
Yeah.
And she actually said, hide behind a mask, and how the mask was very pronounced. I was like, I was so mad that I missed that the first time. I was like, that's the Muse.
The crazy thing is, though, if she had told him no right then when he went to the book signing, if she had said no, I won't help you or whatever, he could have taken her out that night, and Matt wouldn't have never had a chance to save her.
He is a professional stalker that could teach you how to be a stalker, not get seen or caught or nothing. Yeah, he would have followed her.
Yeah.
And it would have taken her that night probably. Because like if you watched the scene with the two of them when she wakes up, because she's starting to lose her cool because she's petrified. She doesn't want to die, so she's just trying to figure out what to say to get him to stop, and she's just making it worse.
Yep.
By saying, anyone who wears a mask is a coward, blah 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 blah.
I'm gonna say this though.
Just setting it
say
off.
that was a brave young lady to try to still use therapy to keep a serial killer from killing you. I mean, but you try all tactics when you can't fight. You can't fight this man. She's
bound.
Talking about how he was training in Taekwondo from the very best, Taekwondo teacher in the world. You know what I'm saying? But it was interesting how she was like, "Don't kill me. Please don't kill me." Right?
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Well, please don't hurt me." Right? And so he made the cut, and I was like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, and the whole time I'm thinking to myself, just so y'all know, I don't like needles. If it comes to one scenes I don't like, it comes with needles and showing when people are getting cut like that. I was squirming in my seat, like, oh no. And I was like, man, he gonna bleed her out before Matt can get there because the police beat Matt there.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I'm the whole time I'm thinking to myself, Matt, get there, save this woman, right? I did not see it coming after Matt threw his what was the weapons called? Turtle told us last week and I forgot.
Oh,
But
and I should have wrote it down.
yeah, but it's fine. He threw his we
His
can call it
weapon.
nunchucks, his weapon, and when it speared him in his shoulder, and he yanked him back, right?
Batten. It's a batten. He put it back in the chest.
A batten. Thank you. So he in the spirit, okay, through the chest, bam, on the floor, and when he stood up and the gun went off, you know who I thought that was before they panned? I thought that was the vigilante team that got there.
You know what I did too? Like I thought they were taking a couple of shots, like if they have like a visual.
Yep.
But no, they didn't.
I was like, because all I can think of is as soon as they shoot Muse, they gonna turn around and shoot him.
Oh yeah.
Shoot Matt, right?
Yeah.
So to my shock, when it was, is her name Heather, right? The
Heather.
Dr. Glenn, right?
Heather.
So when it was her that shot the Muse, I was like, I took a little breath, but I was like, ooh, that could have been bad because, like I said, the cops and I can't call them bad cops. Can we call them bad cops? The cops and the bad cops, they both were there at the same time.
We can call them the dirties.
Okay, well, I rock with that.
The dirty
vigilante squad with the Punisher tattoos. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I thought that was brilliant writing and brilliant cinematography.
Oh yeah,
and
that whole segment.
I know I'm not one of the only ones that like look at scenes like that and be like, man, that was brilliantly shot, right? I was like, oh, that was so beautiful. And then to top it all off, and I'm thinking maybe only artists were probably looking at it like this, and it might be crazy, but anyway, the way he fell on the canvas, that giant canvas that he laid out,
yeah, his final art piece,
his final piece, right? I mean, the writing is brilliant, right?
So good. I love little details like that in the writing.
Yeah,
when you see that, and just because of the meaning behind it, and man,
we have what Turtle said, because you know what, Turtle, and I'm gonna say something about this. Turtle says, I was hoping it was the Punisher. I also
would have been interesting.
Was kind of hoping the Punisher was going to show up in this one too, because I'm gonna tell you why. I thought they were going to allow the Muse to kind of hang around for a couple of more episodes before Matt took him out, so to speak, right? So I thought him and the Punisher was going to team up. So with that being said, we're going to go on a little side mission right now, Jen.
So after that, I want to route back to something else Turtle said in the comments, because there's something I want to talk about.
Okay. Well, this will be real quick.
Yeah.
Who else after the Muse right now, because we still have 2 more episodes, who is the other big bad, so to speak, that Matt has to fight other than Kingpin?
I don't think we have anyone right now, unless they did a subtle introduction that I missed, like what they did with the Muse that we saw in the opening of this episode. The only thing I can think of is, maybe we have the dirties going after him again, because now that Kingpin knows that he's back, and the fact that they closed the last week's episode, the final one out of the 2, where you hear Matt say, I'm back, and then they open this episode where Kingpin says he's back to confirm he's actually back.
Yeah.
So we have the dirties, we have Buck at play, the Kingpin's right-hand man, that's another guy that's lurking around. We have that guy, King himself. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is like if they surprise us and the Punisher tries to take out Matt, but I can't see that. That would be crazy.
Because Matt is out there actually, getting justice for his people. I mean,
exactly,
getting justice for his clients, getting justice for his friends. I mean, and what is the Punisher doing right now? Frank Castle is in that hole doing whatever he was doing before Matt kicked his door in.
Nobody knows the trouble I see. That's what
he's doing right now. And to be honest with you, from the preview of Daredevil Born Again season I mean, well, Born Again season 1. That's what we're gonna call this.
Yeah.
It looked like him and the Punisher was gonna team up, and I think that's what people were expecting. And maybe
We
they
got
might
2
team up in
episodes
the last
left.
2
We
episodes
might.
to bring down the Kingpin. But I doubt if they do that this first season because, as you know, we're going to get another season. It's going to have 9 episodes as well. But that was a quick side mission. So let's go back to what Jen was talking about. Is there a particular comment you would like for me to put on the screen?
Timestamp 10:21 p.m., the one before I replied.
Okay. 10:21. Okay. Matt must not have fingerprints registered in New York or something. Turtle, I think he probably does because he's a lawyer, but I don't know.
Here's why I find this interesting, because when Matt goes back to Muse's lair, what does he do? He takes off one of his gloves to feel the paintings. Now his fingerprints are on the artwork.
Yeah. That's a good one, Jen. That's a good one,
As
Turtle.
soon as I noticed, when he pointed that, I went, oh crap. He should have
That's the good
fingerprints
one.
on file. If they find Matt's fingerprints, they're gonna
That's
ID
a
the
good
Daredevil.
one. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The only thing I was thinking in that moment is, first of all, how is he looking at these pictures? Right? But I know feeling the painting, I was like, man, do you know how magical your fingertips have to be to feel that much detail in all of these works of art? And then to feel the woman that you're in love with, to feel her face among the serial killer's lair, among his art. You know?
And that was one of the things we said, that could possibly get this guy to put the suit back on. But what we saw last night was Ayala was the one who got him to get the suit back on with that situation so she wouldn't get killed by the muse. But now, he was forced to put the suit back on again because he was trying to figure out who his next target was, and it turned out to be the woman he's in a relationship with, who he hired as a therapist. And one of the cops actually said something, that he planned this to be like I think this was supposed to be his last piece, like a suicide art, and he chose his therapist.
Yep. That was crazy though.
Yeah.
I never understand how people do that, serial killers, and then how they choose who they want to kind of end their lives with or want them to end their lives. I'll never understand that. But to choose a psychologist or your therapist, that has to be like really twisted.
My own therapist who I work with, she's a nerd too. So she's like, did you watch this episode yet? Did you see this?
Oh,
did you see this? So I'm going to be like, so have you watched Daredevil yet?
So does she watch Daredevil? Does she watch?
She would. I think, has she watched? I need to ask her. I will ask her.
Do you think this would be something she would be interested in watching?
Oh, heck yes. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Like, if I told her, hey, there's a character that becomes obsessed with the therapist because of her writings and this and that and blah, 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 and goes in for a consultation, and it turns into this, she'll be like, I'm watching that.
Well, put her on to it, because I would love to know her opinion as well, from a therapist perspective. You know what? As a matter of fact, how about we have her on the show?
I'll talk to her.
Is that possible?
I gotta talk to her just because, there's a thing called HIPAA, and I'm her client.
Well, not talk. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. What if I had her on the show when you go on your little trip?
You could do that. You could absolutely do that because it'll be legal.
Oh, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, back to the show.
Yes.
Daredevil. Yeah. We're talking about Daredevil Born Again. Season 1, episode 7 was packed full of little nuggets. And I hope you've been watching thus far, because the season has been really good. The writing has been really good. And Jen, before we wrap it up, I want to know something. Where do you see this Kingpin, Vanessa, and Daredevil triangle going? Because let me tell you something. If this is Vanessa that sent that guy after Kingpin, Then we have a triangle, and now we have, kind of three people fighting for power. Which Matt is not really fighting for power; he's fighting for justice. But we have these three right now, and do you think she could be the last big bad in these last two episodes, so to speak?
That's a good theory that she's maybe the last big bad, because I really had the genuine thought of, does she set Luca up, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
so she can prove her loyalty
To Kingpin.
to King, so that way when she does take him out, most likely successfully, um he won't see it coming,
Mm.
and she'll become the new big bad. Because the other thing, like, if you have some knowledge of gang mobs to a degree, usually a stunt like that sends a message to the other houses
Mm-hmm.
of, you see what he pulled? Look what happened.
Well, do you think after okay. So do you think after what Matt did to the Kingpin, he would let his guard down so far as to let someone else outthink him again? Even if it is Vanessa.
I can only see that happening because I feel like with characters like Kingpin, when they really feel like they're ahead and and that they're actually puppeteering things, like they're like when they really think are controlling everyone, I think their ego gets in the way and they're going to slip up somewhere. We don't know where exactly, but I believe their ego will get in the way. They'll make a slip up, and then they're gonna not see something, realize something, um, and they'll have a downfall from that.
I don't know. I just don't see the Kingpin, falling for, at least falling for Vanessa, you know, outthinking him. Because think about it, since he's gotten out, he's been more than one step ahead of her. He got her little boyfriend locked up, he whooping up on him for no reason. He down there eating sausage and pasta. Now tonight he was eating steaks and sausage again. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna allow her to outthink him.
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to say because they're both very intelligent people. If you take out the crime out of it, they both have been running very successful, lucrative businesses on their own.
Mhm.
And they know how to make connections, they know how to clean things up well and keep things tidy, buttoned up, so things are not disturbed. Because that was one of the things that Vanessa did well, is she didn't have to worry about a whole lot of cleanup because it wasn't really getting dirty. So it's like, well, what other tools does she have in the toolkit from running this business and doing it better than him?
Yeah. Well, with that being said, um, do you think do you think they develop her more as a villain now for these next two episodes?
It's
And when I say a villain, I mean a villain. Period. Like not just after Kingpin. Like she's a villain. Like she's trying to take over New York. She's trying to be the big boss. Villain.
um it's definitely a possibility, because the fact that they were the way we were introduced to her, the way she talked about to Kingpin about the business that she built, how she took everything over, how she got it to make it more money, and blah 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 blah, and
Mhm.
all that was said again between Luca and her. And you know, talking about the differences when King was running it versus her. So the fact that they've brought it up twice, it's worth noting, because it's like, okay, what are we doing with her? Is it your theory that she's going to take down Kingpin and, become the next mayor of New York City and
Yeah.
do it differently because now she has an in? Because let's say hypothetically, she finds a way to take out King, and because she knows how to clean up, it's not going to come back to her, and she can play the grieving widow really well. And she can use that as a masking motivator going, I'm going to stop this crime. Look what they did to my husband and blah, 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 blah. You all were wrong. Look, he did this, he did this, he did this. Like, she could spin it.
She could spin it, but I think Kingpin. I'm gonna put this up right quick. What Turtle
Yeah.
said down here. I think this is what's gonna happen too. I think Kingpin is gonna unalive Vanessa and do his sad thing into insanity. I think to a point, Turtle, you are correct. I think if this was not a quote unquote double cross of Vanessa to Luca, then she out of there. I don't care how much he love her. He already told her to her face, if you make me feel like I can't trust you, we gonna have a problem.
Oh yeah, I mean, that fits the narrative of King. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either. I just keep going back to the fact that they keep bringing up how well the business was under her reign. So it's like, why are we bringing up those details? Is it to this point, that maybe because he hasn't really said anything, but then it wouldn't be surprising either that he's actually jealous of that she does things better than him and without him, which only fuels his anger.
Do you think he's jealous?
I think so, to a point.
You think the Kingpin is jealous of Vanessa, or is it just infatuation and love?
I think there's definitely some jealousy because, within our culture, whether it's written in fantasy fiction or whatever, you still have this narrative of there are still a percentage of men out there that still struggle with women taking the lead in business, making more money, because there's the narrative of being the breadwinner, having everything together. So for Kingpin, I can see that messing with his head a little bit, because to your point that you made earlier, he wants to be on top and doing everything the way he sees fit. And when Vanessa was ruling, that's not what was happening. So it makes him look bad.
Yeah, and it does make him look bad, but I feel for Adam. I know I hadn't mentioned him but once or maybe twice this episode, but I feel for Adam because what comes for Adam next is not going to be good because he's already been beaten, tortured, starved, whatever. Like whatever comes next, if this is Vanessa betraying Kingpin, it's over for him.
I mean, technically, the moment they brought up Adam's name in the show, there's a ticking clock for Adam. It's just a matter of when it's going to stop.
Yeah. And man, I feel for him though.
Here's another interesting thing that they could do: having a war between Vanessa and Kingpin.
Yeah, but how would they do that? Because do you think?
I really don't know, because I don't know what they're doing with this relationship. It could be that she did a slip up and he finds out and he unalives her, or she was in on it and they set up Luca because she wants to show he can trust her, so she can try to blind him from something she's trying to do underhandedly. I mean, we can hypothesize, like play guessing games with
and
this.
That is taking us down a long road. But I was just gonna say, like, if he does unalive her in the next episode, and Turtle's, theory is correct, all you have at the end is straight chaos. Because if Kingpin goes down the road of insanity, Matt is gonna come and put him down.
Matt's gonna take him out, definitely.
Yeah, and then which is gonna make Matt look bad again. Well, they don't know Matt tried to unalive, Bullseye, but he will try to unalive Kingpin, publicly. What Turtle? Turtle, if you're right, please come on here next week and say that.
I just replied, it's a bet.
Please come back and be like, I told you so. But
pull a
I don't know,
Sheldon
'cause
Cooper. Go ahead.
that would be my theory as well. But hey, but to wrap it all up, Jen, it's been really intense
Oh
from
gosh.
the very first episode, and I'm
Woo!
looking forward to more to come.
Oh,
I'm thinking these last two episodes are gonna be
they're gonna get even
probably action
more
packed.
intense,
I think
more
they're gonna be
action.
action packed, right?
Because if you think about it, they have been subtly building upon the action. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, it wasn't so much. Then you get to the last week's two episodes, and we're like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
Oh my freak. I have to turn down the volume. I live in an apartment.
Yep.
I can't look. I get it.
But I mean, and I'm loving it. And I'm loving the suspense, and I'm loving the storyline. But
Me too.
I I know we just hypothesized a little bit towards the end about the next two episodes, but I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to really not knowing who the next quote unquote bad guy Daredevil is going to go after, other than just Kingpin. You know, because Kingpin really hasn't done anything terrible enough
Not
for
really,
Matt to
no.
mess with him yet. You
No. I
see,
mean, he's been handling the Vanessa fiasco.
hmm
That's
so
where his priority has been. And then the other thing we didn't really mention is I really think now we're on a ticker for when Heather figures out who Daredevil
who
is.
he is because he said her name.
He said her name.
I was going to leave with that. I was going to leave with that, and we're gonna get out of here on that note. Heather woke up and she looked him in his face and she said, Daredevil said my name. And as you know, like we both know, she knows that voice and she knows that feel
In a
of
very
those
intimate
hands.
fashion.
Yeah, well, yeah. So
And they both said I love you to each other in this
yes,
episode. They
yes,
declared their love.
they declared their love. They sure did. And
When
so with
that
that
happens,
being
like, oh my
said,
gosh, we got it. I love you. I wrote it.
oh wow. Oh
I love
man.
to say I told you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Turtle, we like to thank you for joining us
Yes.
for another episode of All Star Fandom, and everyone
Thank you
who
for
has
your
watched
support.
tonight. We really do appreciate you. And before we get out of here, I know she has it down there, but I'm gonna let Jen tell you all where you can find her and all the things she's doing. And wait a
Ah,
minute, before we do that,
yeah.
do you want to just tell them, or do you want me to? Did you change your new name yet? Do you have your new name and everything already?
The podcast has been
It
changed.
has been changed. Okay, well, I'm gonna take that down. I'm gonna let you tell them what it probably.
Yeah, so I have been working behind the scenes for a minute. So my me handle is still at Nerdiqua. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok with that name. I also have a podcast called Rocking the Bald Podcast. You can find it at Rocking the Ball Pod. It's on Instagram, coming to YouTube soon, where you can catch all the episodes if you're not into the other ways of listening to pods. And I got other stuff cooking that will be coming soon. So you should probably follow me and stay tuned.
Listen, please follow, like, share, and subscribe. Everything Jen is doing, she is truly awesome. As you
Thank
can
you.
see, she comes and joins and hangs out with your boy on Tuesday, and she is so cool for that. And as you know, I'm Doc, All Star Fandom Show, and we're not gonna hold you too much longer. We out this thing. Peace.
Bye.